Hello everyone! Today I have a pretty exciting video, at least one that I think is exciting because it's a question that I ask myself a lot, which is whether you should be getting the DJI Pocket 2 or a phone gimbal like the Zhiyun Smooth-Q3 to get some better videos using mobile devices. Let's roll the intro. For those of you who are new to this channel, I'm Bellemare-Alford, a young photographer and filmmaker on a journey to become better at this art. Both of these devices offer a pretty similar value proposition, but they do it in a different way. I'm going to be using my Google Pixel 4a and my friend's iPhone for this review, but I'm going to try to keep it as general as possible so it can also apply to your phone. Let's start by talking about image quality because this is definitely one of the biggest differences between these two options. The DJI Pocket 2 has overall really great image quality. It can capture anything between 1080p 24 frames per second and 4K 60 frames per second. It has pretty good autofocus, and the image quality, I would say, is usually slightly better than what most smartphones offer. On the other hand, when you're using a smartphone to capture some video, it really depends on the device you have. If you have an iPhone, a Samsung device, or a Huawei device, you're probably going to get pretty good image quality that almost rivals what the DJI Pocket 2 can get. But if you're like me and you have a Google Pixel 4a, the image quality just isn't as good in the video mode. I'm not sure why, but Google over-sharpens so much the image inside of the video modes that makes it almost impossible to look at on a bigger device because it's really just to see it on your phone and not really made to look at it on a TV or something like that. The advantage of using a phone is that you can actually install other apps to get some better image quality. So I tried using ProTake and Filmic Pro, but they both have the same disadvantage. The first one is that you cannot film at 4K because it starts dropping frames because it's just too much to ask for my phone to be filming 4K and also using a separate camera app to do it. The second problem is that you don't get the really good image stabilization that you get from the default app, so that's definitely another problem when using these apps because you end up with more shaky footage because you don't get any digital stabilization at all. So if you want a really reliable device that you can count on to get good image quality, the DJI Pocket 2 is definitely a better choice. But if you have a good phone that already takes really good video quality, it's definitely not a problem to be using a gimbal. You can still get really good results using it. They both have the same pretty neat feature, which is that they can use accessories on top of them. In this case, I'm talking about ND filters because this is very useful if you want to be getting some more cinematic results. I'm not going to talk about what are ND filters inside of this video, but definitely stay tuned for my video next week where I'm going to review the sandmark filters for my phone next week. Now let's talk about stabilization because this is the main selling point for both of these devices. The Zhiyun Smooth-Q3 has slightly better stabilization because it's a bigger device, so bigger device means more weight and more possibilities to stabilize the shot when you're holding it. They both have the same problem, which is when you're walking around, you still get this wobble going up and down because they're so small that inside of your hand, you cannot remove that completely. I would say one advantage is that if you're using your phone and using usually the default apps on your phone, there's pretty good digital stabilization, so you can use that to enhance the stabilization you already have with the gimbal and get even better results. On the Google Pixel 4, you can even use the cinematic pan option to get super smooth shots. This is also one of the down points because it really depends on your phone. So if you have an iPhone, a high-end Samsung, or most high-end phones, you're going to get really good stabilization. But if you don't have that inside of your phone, only using the gimbal can give very varying results that are not always the best. One thing that lots of people don't understand when starting to take some videos is how important audio is. You can get away with pretty bad video quality, but you cannot get away with bad audio quality. And this is a huge advantage for the DJI Pocket 2 because its wireless microphone in the Creator Combo Kit allows you to get clean and crisp audio even meters away, and even if you have some pretty terrible noise from the waterfalls in the background here by using a little lavalier microphone like this. If I take my phone, we're just going to see that the audio quality isn't as good at all because you get all the audio from the background inside of your main video. So this is a problem because you cannot control this and you cannot connect a microphone directly to it because it's going to mess up with the balance on the gimbal. So this is a huge advantage when you're using the DJI Pocket 2, is that you get pretty good audio quality without any of the downsides when using the wireless microphone that is built inside of it. One thing that's really great with both devices is how easy they are to use. So with only one click you can start and stop recording on both devices. With one click you can actually change your gimbal modes, and finally using the joystick you can easily reframe your shot without having to think about it too much. They both also have pretty similar options when it comes time for gimbal modes, but the Zhiyun Smooth-Q3 has more with 6, or DJI Pocket 2 only has 3, and that's because it's a 5-axis gimbal, so it has a little bit more possibilities. But in the end, having more gimbal modes doesn't mean that you're going to get more diverse shots. It's just that you're going to have to move your hand a little bit more when using the DJI Pocket 2, but you can in the end get exactly the same shots with both devices. So here, it's both a win for both devices. Good audio that's built in. That's what I'm using right now to record this. It's actually a really great option for vlogging because it was designed for this task specifically. I think that overall it does a pretty good job. The only problem I have sometimes is like in a situation like this, my face might be blurry because the autofocus sometimes has a little hard time getting my face in focus. The Zhiyun Smooth-Q3 plus my phone also is a decent option for vlogging. You won't get the autofocus problem because it's a full fixed focus lens, but that also means that you're getting everything in the background that is perfectly sharp, and you don't get this nice black round blur when taking videos. Another little problem is that the sound is not as good from my phone because you don't get as much microphones all around to compensate and get better audio. But overall, the gimbal works really well with my phone, and you can get super smooth shots when taking a video. One fix to get better video quality would be to turn around the phone, but you would lose seeing yourself, which can be a problem when filming these types of video because you don't really know what you're filming and if you're in the frame or not. So I prefer just using the front facing lens, even if it means I don't get as good video quality. Now let's talk about the mobile apps and the features that are unlocked when using them with both of these gimbals. The mobile apps look almost identically the same and have pretty much the same functionality. One problem I had is that I updated the firmware for the Zhiyun Smooth-Q3 today, and it doesn't want to connect anymore to the gimbal, so I cannot show it to you right now. The DJI Pocket 2 has a pretty big advantage, is that you can have a pro mode inside of the app, which allows you to get much more settings and really customize the video, photos, and everything to get exactly the look you want to have. Another pretty thing about the DJI Pocket 2 is that you can use it wirelessly, so you can just put it down and use the app to control it wirelessly from somewhere else. So this is really good when you're filming yourself or that you need to control it to see multiple things and you don't want to be beside the camera all the time. This is not possible when using a gimbal because the phone needs to be on the gimbal to be able to capture the video. Now let's talk about a few of these modes. So first of all, you have Hyperlapses that are just pretty bad in both cases because they just speed up the video and it's pretty shaky in the end. Then we have Timelapses, and they're not the greatest results when you use the default settings on both of them. But on the phone you can use another app to capture some pictures and create your own time-lapse afterwards. And you can also get some raw pictures when using the DJI Pocket 2, so both of them allow to get pretty good results when you want to put a little bit more work inside of it to be able to customize everything. Then the last mode is slow motion, and it's not the greatest slow motion because it caps at 1080p in both cases, but it's pretty neat to have it in both of them when you need to quickly capture something. But again, this is really going to depend on your phone and not the gimbal for the slow motion. Both devices can take photos, but I'm not sure why you would buy a gimbal to take some photos. The DJI Pocket 2 can take some pretty good pictures, especially if you take them in RAW and edit them afterwards, but here a phone is just going to blow out the results from the DJI Pocket 2 because a phone, especially my Google Pixel 4a with computational photography, can get way better results in the end. So if you're buying a gimbal for photos, I'm not sure why you would do it, but just stick with your phone because you're probably going to get better results by only doing that. I want to end this video by letting you know which one is the right for you. If you already have a phone that takes pretty good video, in this case, just go and buy a phone gimbal. It's going to do pretty much everything you need and you're going to get very smooth results that are going to allow you to get more cinematic results in the end. You could add an ND filter like this one, and you can get a really great setup for not too much money. This gimbal is only $89, so it's definitely worth it if you want to step up your video game without having to spend too much money. If you want to get more control on your shots or you want to have more advanced features, then in this case, the DJI Pocket 2 is a great option. The other really great thing with this gimbal is actually that it's super small, so it can go in your pocket like the name says, which makes it really easy to bring around with you. So which one would you choose? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, please let me know by hitting the like button below, and also consider subscribing to get more content on photography and filmmaking. I'm gonna have my video right here about my review of the Zhiyun Smooth-Q3, and right down here I'm gonna have my video about a review of the DJI Pocket 2, so definitely go check out both of them if you want to learn more about both of these options. See you in the next one. Bye bye.